Hey guys, this is Anchor7DD, the leader of 7 Days Departed, and today I wanted to do a quick video on a new Atlantis summon called Mitsuko. If you enjoy these video breakdowns, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. But let's get into this. She has 696 attack, 727 defense, 1450 on the health, which pretty beefy there. Deals 245 damage to the target nearby enemies, reduces the mana of the target nearby enemies by 20%, and all allies reflect all status effects 115 damage from ice special skills back to the attacker for 4 turns. So kind of an interesting hero. As always, we go ahead and we break this down straight into the Titans. So like I said, it's got 696 attack power, which is pretty okay. I would say it's right in the middle for the attack power. Not the greatest in terms of going ahead and being a high tile damage. The awkwardness when it comes to Titan is the fact that it reflects ice specials, which obviously normally you go ahead and you use fire heroes against green Titans. So to display the power of this, went ahead and showed it on an ice, obviously Titan, because it reflects. So this is the really cool part about it. Obviously, she had the special up, all damage reflected back to the Titan, no damage was dealt to the heroes. Another thing I want to go ahead and add that I don't think most people know is that when you're using her, you actually don't really need to even use antidotes, which is kind of interesting because most every single Titan requires an antidote, especially at the high level Titans. So if you are using her on blue Titans, I don't really think you need antidotes. One thing that's super awkward about the fact is that, again, that you're using tile damage that's not positive towards blue Titans. So a little bit of the awkwardness there. The unfortunate part is that as we know, Evelyn as well as Buddy just got released, which in my opinion are definitely going to be a bit more useful against these blue Titans. Now, if she was in the past, I could definitely see her being utilized because green was actually slacking quite a bit. But with this, I mean, it is paired with Diana, Gaderis, and also Gregorion. Obviously, we got the Wukong factor to it. I think that this fits a bit more into a niche, kind of like fun Titan stuff. I probably wouldn't recommend bringing it on blue Titans always. But if you are, the really good thing, the beneficial part to having Mitsuko on Titans is that you can use her on blue as well as you can use her on green Titans, especially for the tile damage there. Not so much the special, but she still has decent enough tile damage to where if you did decide to go ahead and level her up, you'll still have some use for her. So the damage when it comes to the 245 to the target nearby enemies, obviously there's no enemies, not really a huge issue. The awkward part, though, is the reducing mana of the target and nearby enemies, which is kind of weird because you kind of don't want to reduce the mana when you apply the status effect, and it could turn into this fact to where you reduce the mana and then it didn't charge up the special all the way up. So maybe that can be a little bit of a factor. As we see on this, it wasn't too much of a factor with the reduced mana, but just something to consider if you are, keep in mind that you are reducing the mana, but you also actually want it to go off. So I thought that was a little bit of a counterintuitive thing, especially when it comes to Titans, but still overall a pretty decent hero to be using on Titans for sure. So next up we actually have Mitsuko running on offense, which I think this is where she really shines and she really does an awesome part. As you can see, this person has 2 blue heroes. I think that she actually does the best when you're actually going against flanking heroes versus the tank. Because what I've noticed just in some of the videos is that you'd bring Mitsuko in against the tank, and then sometimes Mitsuko wouldn't be able to go off before the tank would go off. So I think that she does really well if your opponent has the defense set up that way. But as you saw right there, Magni was already charged up. Mitsuko hadn't gone off yet, so you didn't really get to use the reflect. But that's where she's going to mostly do her damage. But I still see that this definitely turns into a huge problem against anybody using multiples on blue. So you should see this is going to be coming up here. She's got the Mitsuko special up, counting the turns, and then Alassi just reflects everything back. No damage dealt. So the best part about Mitsuko's ability is her ability to go ahead and time and then just straight punish your opponents, because obviously the AI doesn't know when to fire off or when to stay back. So that I think that right there adds a very competitive edge against a lot of the market. When you look at Asarnia being out there, a lot of Magni, Alassi, but most devastating towards towards area damage heroes such as like Athena, Alassi, stuff like that. You're really gonna punish them, and it makes it so that that they die. So when we look at breaking down our actual effects, the 245 damage to the target and nearby enemies, I would say that kind of applies. It's a fair amount of damage, not the end of the world. Now, the reducing of the mana is really, really beneficial too. The really cool thing that I noticed, especially on offense with Mitsuko, is that you can almost kind of ignore a whole, like, as you can see, we're ignoring the left side and just firing right into the right side. And that's really cool because you're actually reducing the mana on the right, and then you're allowing to charge up the blue hero. So it definitely plays into more of the tempo type player, to where people are into that stuff, to where you're kind of controlling and dictating the board. It allows you to have full, complete control over that, and for that, I think it adds an extra element with reducing it. So the reflecting, like I said, is definitely beneficial when they've got either multiple blues. Mostly on the flanking blues is where I found it most beneficial. But you can see all that damage is prevented, and everything's sent back, and Thorn just pretty much one-shots himself. So I think that will play definitely more into effect when you get deeper in and more heroes are released. If anything ever becomes a problem to where there is a bunch of blues that are running around, or really high-ranking flanking blues, that Mitsuko will really shine in that element. So really cool hero for that. So now we actually have her on defense here. I think that when you look at her attack power, what she does, ultimately you want to go ahead and have her in a tank position. Because that's the most times that you're gonna have somebody utilize heroes against them. So for instance, when you look at this, the person here went ahead and brought a balanced team, but most of the time you're going to see that people are going to stack mostly in favor of the tank. So the cool thing about this is that even though Mitsuko's dead, you're in a position to where you have to kind of really hold things off. So on this, definitely have to play around that fact. Have to play around her not being up. Panther did dispel, so that allowed us to use Magni, but normally wouldn't have been able to go ahead and fire off to the right there. So still was holding out on defense as the tank, but you can see wasn't super stacked against Mitsuko, but was able to kind of play around it a bit. With her having the defense, the life total, massively huge. I don't like her at all in the wings. Definitely best suited for right in the tank position. Possible flank scenario when you've got like Guinevere, or possibly like an Agir flanking with Mitsuko, Gravemaker, because ultimately, in order for her to shine, you want to make sure that the offensive player is bringing blues and you're punishing them on blue control. So on this video here, you can see Mitsuko's going to go off, have everybody get the special up. Now she is going to die right here. But I think you'll see people will do this. They'll get that reflected, and then on accident they went ahead and reflected again. So if you don't pay attention to this, you will get punished by Mitsuko 100%. So the timing of it, the delay factor of it, will definitely hurt. Maybe it's a time for Guinevere to flank with her, but I still think that Guinevere is going to be the best suited to be tanking. So when you get into the reduced mana, I can see that also being a factor with her being in a tank position, reducing the mana, even though it is to a few of the nearby enemies. You get a little bit of that Guinevere fact to it. And then obviously the reflecting, that's going to stall out there too. So with her having such high defense and high life, and a fair amount of attack power, I could see her fitting in very well into tank position. Obviously not huge, not the most destructive, but certainly a serviceable tank and has some all-around effectiveness for people that are just kind of getting started. So the hero grade that I have here, I do see a lot of positives. Definitely a different hero than normal that's out there. But right into it, I've got the grade for it a B on a Titan. I could see some versatility there, but ultimately I think that she's in the wrong color to be reflecting against the Titan. Still, we'll find some usage for there for sure. On offense, I give her an A. She's incredibly useful when you're going up against a large amount of the playing field. Even if they only have one flanking blue, you can really punish them, especially with her stacked stats. On defense, I do give her a B. I think you can play around her, especially in a tank position, but she still will be serviceable for quite a bit amount of the player base. An overall grade, I've got her suited as a B. When you add up her Titan, her defensive grade, and her offensive grade, I think that she fits as a really niche type of fun hero. Probably not the best to level up first, but definitely worth leveling up.